In the research I did recently, I found that horse race betting seemed to be much less problematic than things like betting on football matches, and that was not something I was expecting to find. Basically what you find is that problem gambling is linked to opportunity and access. And so because there is a lot of horse race gambling you can bet on, you would theoretically think that there's be a lot of problems because people can access this type of gambling every day, but in fact that doesn't seem to be the case.
What are the differences between a social gambler and a problem gambler?
Well, obviously it's just a matter of magnitude. Everything's on a continuum from obviously no gambling at one end right through to addictive and pathological gambling on the other. A social gambler is just somebody that usually will gamble a few hours a week. They do it as a social activity with their friends. Obviously there's absolutely no problems in their gambling, and the vast majority of people are what I would class as social gamblers. Even those who may do it excessively, they still do it in a social capacity. In the research that's been done, around about 1% of people are problem gamblers, and even amongst that, only a very, very tiny percentage are addicted to gambling. For social gamblers, they might spend a bit too much money. That might have a little bit of problems with their partner or their children or whatever. But I've never seen any research looking at social gambling that said it's bad in any way.
How can researchers work together with the industry? What are the benefits of that?
I've been working for 31 years in the gambling research, and 3 decades ago, a researcher never spoke to a gambling operator because they were like, well, in England we say chalk and cheese. They're two different types of people with different views. Now the thing is, I've come to learn, probably about 15 years ago, that if the industry are interested in reducing problem gambling, and I'm interested in reducing problem gambling, if we're both interested in the same question, then why can't we actually work together on it? And now, of course, the real beauty for me and why I do work with the industry is that the data that they have is far better quality than the data that I would collect without them. When I think of, I do a study and it's, maybe I've interviewed 200 people or given a questionnaire to 200 people, then suddenly, I look at some of my papers recently and it's 50,000 online gamblers, 70,000 online gamblers, 100,000 online gamblers. This is high quality data where people can't lie, they can't distort the truth. This is exactly what they're doing on a platform. So for me, when I think my very first published paper was an observation analysis of 8 slot machine players, 8 people. So now when I'm publishing papers with tens of thousands of people, I just know that the quality of data I've got is very good, and the findings that I can infer from that data are really good from a research perspective.
In what way can research make the gambling industry more sustainable, you'd say?
If they want to be sustainable, they've got to realise is that their product is something that is a consumptive product that in the long run there'll be a small percentage of people, just like the alcohol or nicotine industry, that will have problems as a result of that consumptive product. You can never eliminate problem gambling, but you can actually minimise it to a level that's manageable. And I think some companies now, Kindred have been saying at this conference, the amount of income they get from problem gamblers is going down and down and down. That's how you be sustainable. What you want as a company is you want someone to start gambling with you and still be gambling with you 40 or 50 years later. With a problem gambler, their shelf life is 1, 2, 3 years, and then they're gone. That's why we have to work together to minimise problem gambling. It's all about player protection. If you do that, then you will have a sustainable industry.